Yet another real-life story. This is going to be an odd one in that it's just an assortment of things that I used to say to the kids and the grandkids and memories of my own early years and little songs and just little tidbits. There is no theme to this video, but to my kids and grandkids, I learned this when I was a kid, and I used to pass it on to my kids and my grandkids, and a little saying. It goes like this: don't get wise, beady eyes. I'm the boss, applesauce. Understand, rubber band. 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't get wise, beady eyes. I'm the boss, applesauce. Anyway, the kids seem to like it. It seems a little juvenile, but kids love juvenile stuff. Another thing that the kids used to love, I would make the sound of water droplets with my mouth. And sometimes you can look up at the ceiling and they seem to like that, especially when they're under 4. I also had learned from my first girlfriend 190 years ago, Lauren Hydorn in Middletown, New Jersey. We went together for probably about a year and a half. I learned to warble whistle. I believe she had learned it from her older brother, and it kind of went like this. You just wag your tongue up and down. Let me wet my whistle. Quite literally. Anyway, two completely different notes coming out just by the up and down wagging of your tongue. From when I was a kid, there was a television series by the name of Dragnet, and it was a murder mystery solve it kind of thing, and the intro song was bum ba-dum bum. Bum ba-dum bum bum. The story you're about to hear is true. The names have been retained to incriminate the guilty. That's not how they did it, but as a teenager, I came up with that. The names have been changed to protect the innocent, or whatever they used to say. And another thing that probably as a teenager, kind of a wise guy teenager, there were all these ads for different things in New York or out of Philly. And the end of the commercial, they would do something like this: call Murray Hill 7-2900, Murray Hill 7-2900, Murray Hill 7-2900. One more time for you idiots out there: Murray Hill 7-2900. Order now, and with your order receive leaders and gutters, or an upright Lewitt vacuum cleaner, or a 9x12 rug, or 27 square feet of aluminum siding, just enough to cover the top of your doghouse. Murray Hill 7-2900. Anyway, as I said someplace else, all of my grandparents were dead by the time I was 9. I vaguely remember my mother's parents. Her father died when I was like 4 and a half. I think I spoke about that in another video. Mom's mother suffered a stroke and laid on the floor of her place for 3 days, they believe 3 days, until the postman was looking through the window because none of the mail had been taken out of the mailbox. And he saw her lying on the floor. She was dead probably by the time I was 6. It was right around that time that my father's mother, Nana, she was the only one that I kind of got to know a little. Nana was cool. That's my father's mother, paternal mother. My brother and I were left with them once. I believe my father had a class reunion, so he and my mother were going for that. And Bob and myself were staying with Nana and Pop-Pop. We were pretty young. I'm going to guess 6, maybe. And she allowed us to stay up late, and we enjoyed tea and toast with butter and jam with her pretty late. That was pretty cool. As we left that particular time that we stayed with them, and that may have been the only time we ever stayed overnight, because of course at 6, maybe 7 at most, she was dead. But as we were leaving from that stayover, she said something about that she read the Bible once every year. She read through the entire Bible every year. Somehow I tucked that one away, and it kind of stuck with me. And here I am for over 52, wow, it's heading for 53 years that I've been a Bible-believing Christian, having come from a very anti-religion stance for the earliest part of my life, up until I was almost 20. I do wonder if Nana had prayed for all of her grandkids. Her 2 sons, she had my father, Leroy Burt, and she had his older brother, Melvin, who was absolutely inappropriate with us children. He was 6 feet 6 tall, a large hulking man. He had been a lifer in the Navy, put in at least 20 years, maybe more, I don't know. He would squish your hand. Hey, squirt, how you doing? Squish your hand. If someone acted that way towards my kids, I probably would have knocked them down. He was utterly inappropriate with us children. And my brother called him Melvin the Moon Monster, which is not actually too inappropriate. My father's father, my paternal grandfather, smoked like a chimney, which partly, maybe mostly, led to the death of his wife, my grandmother. I believe she died from emphysema. He had no thumb. On his right hand, it had been cut off in some kind of industrial accident, and he used to leave his spoon. He came to live with us for a short while, and he used to leave his spoon in the coffee, and then try to drink his coffee, of course, without a thumb. So he'd be holding it like this, and there's no thumb, so he's holding it like this and drinking with a spoon. And my father used to yell at him, "You're gonna poke your eye out." It was a freaking zoo. I have to. As were any gatherings of my father's family, which happened maybe once or at most twice a year. Any gatherings were actually scary as a little kid. They were loud. There was drinking going on. There was a lot of smoking going on. And almost always it would devolve into an argument with somebody. And at times it was just outright scary as a little kid. I don't understand that kind of interaction on a regular basis. What else we got here? We really had no close relatives. Even on my mother's side, maybe once or twice a year, we would get to see her parents until they both were dead. We would occasionally get to see my maternal grandmother's sisters, Aunt Babe and Aunt Jewel. To this day, I really don't know what their real names were. That's how we knew them, Aunt Babe and Aunt Jewel. Oh, and one more thing. I never learned to play cards, and my folks didn't really play cards, just very occasionally. And I never learned to play cards because I was impacted by television in the 1950s and early 60s. And every time, every time, they would show a card game on TV, usually Westerns, somebody got shot and killed. Call me crazy, but that was not something that would attract me to card playing. So here I am, 72 years old, 72 and a half years old, and I do not play cards at all. So that's it's interesting that that comes right here at the end of this little video. But those are just assorted memories from earlier in my life. I'm sure you have your own set. All right, thanks. Take care.